Hello and welcome to another episode of Bhavya's Unsolicited Opinion. So today we're going to talk about a very special topic which I like to term the woke revolution. And the word woke was first used by the African American community in 1800s, and it was supposed to signify an awareness of racial discrimination and the socio-political happenings around the world and the country. So it was basically a person who is well informed and well read. But today, in 2020's context, the word has kind of come back in fashion, and it has also been rebranded of sorts. So in today's episode, I'm trying to decode this rebranding. I'm trying to understand what the woke revolution actually is, and I'll be asking a variety of questions that I feel need to be addressed when it comes to the word woke. I'd like to issue a disclaimer at this point that anything said in this show is purely the opinion of the people who are working for this show. We do not mean to hurt any individual or community. We are not experts and we do not claim to be. This is just a friendly discourse. Today I'm joined by a very special person with whom I've had a variety of conversations about this very topic. And I decided that I needed to do today's episode with him because we've already discussed this so much. So, Vibhu is a rising first year at Ashoka University. His interests include economic history and theory, politics, media theory and philosophy, and also avoiding anything that relates to emotions. So, hi Vibhu, welcome to the show.
Hi Bhavya.
Okay, so I think that college has been life-changing for me in many ways because I was, very honestly, a very uninformed, ignorant and naive kid when I entered college and thrown into this world that I had no idea existed. So for me, college was like an eye-opener of sorts. I felt very out of place. And so my first question for you, Vibhu, is going to be a little personal. Did you feel out of place when you first entered this adult world?
So I was politically aware before I entered college, right? But it was a huge change. There were too many things thrown at us at the same time. The environment was very different. Everyone was forming friends, social life. It was just a whole package of new things thrown at you, bombed at you. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so taking it from there, what I experienced when I came to college was this community of kids who were extremely aware of what was happening around me. So I felt extremely out of place, and I also felt it daunted me. I looked up to them. I used to listen to them very keenly, hoping that I could learn something. But I realized after a while that even with all that knowledge they had only skimmed the surface. And none of these people actually knew what they were talking about, because I started trying to educate myself so that I could sit in a classroom and not feel out of place. And as I started educating myself, I realized that these people weren't all that cool. So that brings me to today's topic, which is the woke culture. Okay, and before we start talking about what the woke culture is, I just want to ask you what you think the meaning of woke is in its present context. And I mean, in 2020, what is woke?
So, if we're talking in the context of, students who say that they are aware of the political happenings in the country, who say that they have a stake in the political happenings of the country, we generally term those people as woke. It has become more of a slang actually, that if you want to, downturn someone's opinions or someone's political standing, you tell them that you are unnecessarily woke. But to be fair, woke would actually mean that you're aware of everything and nothing else. It is not related to how much activism you're doing. It's just about the fact that you're aware. But in the present context, especially in the context of students and universities, it has turned something completely different.
And okay, so you said that it doesn't have to be related to how much activism you're doing or how much you're actually participating in what you're talking about. So do you think we're often doing this where we're trying to act as if we know what's happening around us. Where we're posting about it on our Instagrams. Today, social media is a boon and a bane because we know what's happening like in an instant, and also there is so much pressure to know. An example here is that as soon as something happens, an event occurs, everybody's Instagram story is talking about that event, and everybody has something to say. And I will be honest here, I am part of that culture. Do you think this is part of being woke, or is this what we have translated being woke to today?
Certainly, it's the latter one. It has been transformed into being at the top of voicing your opinions all the time on all the things. And specifically, when I see students, right? I mean, this might be a generalization, this might be something that is ad hoc or maybe coming from a very specific form of environment that I am in currently. I'm not talking about right or wrong, I'm just talking about what it has become.
Yeah, that's true. And another question I had about the same thing, seeing that a lot of us are taking information from very weird sources. Like a few days back, I saw someone posting opinion pieces which were by a social media influencer, a content creator, and sometimes I wonder, like, are content creators now our source of news?
We are in a situation where people are turning to WhatsApp forwards and social media influencers handles for news. And that is a huge problem, right? Because all of those, and a part of blame also falls on the Indian media because it's just turning crap every day. But there are good places where you can catch up news. It's just about if you want to seek it or not. But I mean, I think you've raised a very, very, very crucial issue, that how students are turning to really bad sources for information and basic news, which should not serve as news, right? It is views, not news. So, I mean, I think that's a huge problem.
Yeah, and another problem with that is that you talked about credible news sources, but I have a problem with credible news sources also, because how do you define something as credible? I mean, there have been some independent news agencies, media houses that I have been following, and sometimes even with independent media houses that I had previously trusted as being unbiased, I have found political ideologies that somehow shine through whatever they're trying to report. And also, I have started seeing this kind of a culture where, because there is lack of representation of maybe one political ideology, a new media house comes up which starts representing that ideology, which I feel is extremely unnecessary, and also it defeats the point of having media or independent media, because again you are pitching a political ideology. What's the point? So yeah, I just wanted to raise this because I genuinely felt that this is a problem.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It takes a very, very extremely aware person, a person with very high regards for truth, in order to actually realize what the hell is going on in this country. Because almost every news outlet, if you look at their funding, right, it's coming from some political source or some corporate source.
Exactly.
I mean, if it's coming from a political or a corporate source, that's enough incentive for them to present one side of the news, not the whole news. So, I mean, I see so many echo chambers in this country. I see so many people just listening to one side of the news. We are in a complete disaster right now. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right in those apprehensions about what's happening today.
Yes, and we have digressed a little from the topic, so bringing us back, I wanted to ask that if, and this has been my issue, okay, this is a personal problem that I have faced with this word woke and the context it has been placed in. So I have realized that woke has been associated with a left liberal in most cases, right? You can correct me if I'm wrong. Personally, I have never found anyone who is a right wing or a moderate right winger who could be called woke, because it has only been reserved for the left wingers. And it confuses me, because woke is supposed to be a person who has complete information about the social and political, happenings in the country, and it was supposed to be someone who is anti-racist, someone who stands up for what is right. So why is it suddenly being associated to every left liberal activity that is going on in the country? Has someone rebranded woke into it standing for the left liberals, and if we're calling the left liberals woke, does it mean that the left liberals are also the correct ones or the informed ones? Is that what it's trying to imply?
Okay, alright. So you've asked me a couple of questions. Let's start from the observation that the whole idea of left and liberal is wrong because, every individual has a different sense of what is going on in this country, right? I mean, there are so many factors that goes on into one's idea of what is the news, what is the truth, what is the political situation in the country, right? And to be fair, I think that the charge that left and liberals are considered woke today is somewhat right. I mean, there is some truth to it. They have self-branded themselves that we are woke, and everyone else or someone who's coming from a different ideology is not woke, right? But I mean, everyone is wrong in this situation. People who are aware of the truth are called as woke. It doesn't matter whatever ideologies you're coming from, right? The problem with woke today and with people belonging to left or liberal ideologies is that your ideology starts framing your truth, right? Not the other way around. It should be, your truth should be framing your beliefs. It's true for right wingers as well, right? I mean, I see so many right wingers, but the idea is that the truth should frame your beliefs and then your ideology, not the other way around. So I think, so many people have, काफी सारे लोगों के lenses खराब हो चुके हैं to see that world, and they like to call themselves as woke. I've seen a lot of people in my college campus as well. I'm not sure how true it is about the other colleges. They have branded themselves as woke, and everyone else or someone who's not speaking from their side is not woke.
And I also feel that sometimes someone starts associating themselves with the liberal environment, and when they start calling themselves a liberal, somehow a sense of superiority creeps in because you have what they might not, and that weapon of yours is knowledge. When in many cases your knowledge might be flawed or incomplete and the other person might have more knowledge than you do, but just because that person does not recognize as a liberal, his knowledge or his capacities are not recognized. I just found it to be a problem because with liberals, they have declared that they want to listen to what you're saying, they want to engage with you, they want to learn. So when you make a declaration like that, it's just, I sometimes feel sad when it doesn't happen, it doesn't work out that way. Taking it from there, so I don't think everybody is, like this right from wherever their journey starts. Like for me, my journey started when I entered college, and so everybody has, certain points where they choose to take on labels, or where they choose to start embracing the political and social culture around them. And I feel that a lot of us become whatever we become, maybe pseudo woke activists or proper activists, or just someone who has a lot to say, opinionated people. All of this, we become this because of peer pressure. I mean, I have acted like a pseudo woke person myself. So, and I feel that for me, it has been peer pressure that has influenced me the most. So, has it been similar for you?
To be honest, peer pressure in college, universities, specifically in colleges, right, where humanities and social sciences are taught, it's a huge. I mean, you cannot say something. I mean, for every college, there are some things that are totally, you just cannot say, right? Because I mean, it might piss off a lot of people.
Yeah,
it's definitely a problem in colleges. But I mean, the way I see it, right, it's all about yourself, right? How much are you going to succumb to the beliefs of those around you? Do you have willpower of maintaining your identity or not?
Yeah. I mean, I have acted like a pseudo woke. So I set out on my journey of knowing these things, but because I had to learn so much in so less time, and I had to adapt so quickly, I didn't actually get into the depth of those things, and I skimmed like you would expect a pseudo woke person to do. So I think that often happens with us, where we're just trying to fit in and make things right for ourselves. Yeah. We're just trying to adapt to a very new environment.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, colleges has this group effect on people, right? Where they go through huge personality change, right? Personality change in terms of beliefs, personality changes in terms of the person that they are. Specifically talking in the context that about woke culture, right? In colleges, just for the fact that you have to fit in, right? For whom the basic line is that you can't disagree with me on certain things, right? I mean, if you're not,
Exactly.
I mean, if you're not speaking like I am speaking, or if you don't think that I'm thinking, you might as well not be my friend, right? And so, for a lot of people, they just succumb to that pressure. They think that it's better to fit in than rather than standing out or taking the way that's less traveled by or something like that.
Yeah. Acha, this is a very weird question, okay? I don't know why I decided to include this in our conversation, but I just had to. Why is every woke liberal, or maybe just every person who identifies as woke, includes smoking and drinking? Now, I can be extremely wrong here, and please, I think a lot of people are going to take offense to this, but I just feel everybody who recognizes with this, who recognizes with being informed, has to have indulged in either smoking or drinking.
It's more of that. Well, I mean, it's more of that you've seen wrong set of people. Because let's be clear, right? Alcoholism and smoking, they are self-control problems, right? I mean, they're bad for health. There is no doubt about that. But I mean, I think either you've not seen the right kind of woke people in the exact sense of the word, or maybe you've just seen the wrong set of people. I mean, I think it's that.
I don't know. I mean, I could definitely be wrong here. So everybody who wants to call me out after this podcast, please do. But I just feel that it has become part of the branding. I'm not saying it's wrong or right. So I saw this post where there was a digital art post where there was a girl who was dressed in sari and she looked beautiful, all decked up and all, and she had a cigarette in her hands, and it said something like "fuck this." Okay, and it was basically it was calling out some sort of bad thing that had happened in I don't know what context, but it was calling out something, and that woman was supposed to represent a very strong female, and I just felt that designer had used the sari and the cigarette as a symbol of being strong. So that is my point here. That a lot of times I feel that a lot of these things are used as symbols to show a certain kind of strength. Like even in a lot of shows recently, I've been binging a lot of shows, and there is a certain show, I will not name it, but there's a certain show which shows four girls who try to figure out life, and it's a kind of like a feminist show. I think you got it. So, and even in that show, it's very heavy on alcohol and smoking, and I think it has become a thing.
Yeah, in order to be cool, in order to be modern or something like that, you have to smoke.
Yeah. Let's come to the last question of this conversation. Do you think that the woke revolution is here to stay, or do you think it's a fad that will like stay here for a few months or maybe a year or two, and then it'll vanish like most things do?
Okay, let me clarify this. The kind of political environment that exists today in the country right now, right, with a kind of and you can disagree that with a kind of an authoritarian government in the center, I think this culture, in that sense, is here to stay. It'll only grow. I mean, I can only see it growing, and I think that it's really a very gray area to classify who's right or wrong, because let me be very honest, right? The political environment of this country is just very hostile right now. There is just too many problems going on. There is just too many things going on, and people, this supposed woke culture or this supposed pseudo activism is only about to grow, and I won't blame those people too much for it, or I won't say that those people are wrong or right or this or that, because I think it's just a natural reaction to the political environment in this country, right? I mean, it's completely alright. I mean, I think these things have been around for so long. These things will be there for long. Certainly in the coming future, in the coming years, this woke culture is about to grow, if not explode. And to me, it's alright. I mean, there's really no problem with it. it's just a reaction to whatever is happening in the government of this nation. Yeah.
That is definitely true. I totally agree. I think today's political environment and whatever's happening around us calls for us to be more informed and to be more vocal about where we stand. This year has proven to be very political in nature. We have seen so many things happen. I think I've kind of watched a lot of revolutions take form, and a lot of important, necessary activity has started taking place. Change seems to be coming, and I am so glad that that is happening. And I would request you all to actually educate yourself and read about whatever is happening around you, because it is very important to be aware, especially in today's context. So, we have had a very lovely conversation with Vibhu today. It was so much fun, and also I feel very informative, and we needed something like this for a long while, I felt. So I'm so happy we could do this. This conversation has been recorded over a Skype call because pandemic's here and we're all quarantined. So I'm sorry for any problems that you faced when listening to the audio. I hope you liked the episode. We would like to thank Vibhu for being here with us, and I'd like to request you all to try and not indulge in pseudo woke activity, and instead just try and educate yourself. It is okay to be opinionated. I surely am. It is okay to want to pursue an ideology, want to stand up for something, but to not indulge in half information or unverified resources or news that you're not sure about but which you have formed opinions on. And I think that's all the gyan from my side today. So please check out this episode, and please follow me and like and share wherever you can. Connect with me through Instagram. My Instagram ID is uncensored_Bhavya. And that's it for today. Thank you for joining in. Bye bye. Have a nice day.